All right. Good morning, everyone. Happy to see you on a wonderful Saturday morning. Thank you for joining us for this inaugural teaching and learning conference that we have today. So you are joining us for hopefully your first session of the day. You have in here Smarter Balance Tools for Teachers. Welcome. We have with us Sarah Berger from Tools for Teachers. She's our main contact here, and you actually have both of us here. So I am Mary Holscall with the Nevada Department of Education in the Office of Standards and Instructional Support. I also work with Sarah with this work, building around Tools for Teachers and some wonderful resources that we have, they both. Throughout, you'll hear from Sarah and myself. I'm gonna let Sarah introduce herself in just a moment properly. But in the meantime, I'm going to also add for those who just came in, just a couple of housekeeping things. Please make sure to complete the attendance survey if you would like to have credit for attending today, hopefully so. If there are any issues, I'm also operating as moderator. Please just direct them. You can just message myself, particularly about the conference. And there's also some troubleshooting if those things occur. But I'll be quiet now. Sarah, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, my name is Sarah Berger. I'm the lead for Tools for Teachers for Smarter Balanced. I was a classroom educator for about a decade, primarily in middle grades ELA. And I've taught in a variety of places, both in the US and internationally, and I am coming at you today from Vermont. So really excited to be here. I'm really passionate about Tools for Teachers as something that can support teachers and students, and most importantly, save them time, one of our more precious commodities, especially these days. So psyched to chat with you all.
All right. Okay. Well, a couple of our friends coming in. I think we can go ahead and get started. Oh dear. All right, couple of things we wanted to make sure for everyone is go ahead and take a moment we're going to do what's called a tech check. Because with Tools for Teachers, making sure everyone has access, everyone across the state of Nevada does have access or the ability to use Tools for Teachers. It's just one of those things where maybe you have an account and don't know. Maybe you don't have an account, and then we can figure out ways of getting that for you to get an account. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to do like a sandbox for today, but we have options here as well. If you're not able to log in, definitely like the screen says, it's going to go through your testing coordinator, either at your school or your district. If you're one of my wonderful friends at RPDP, it would be the local school district that your office is housed, or just send an email to me. And I can help you out with that. So while we're doing that, if you want to take just a few minutes, Sarah has put the URL link to the website in the chat. And just let us know when you're in. Emily, I'm loving the sunglasses emoji. That's an awesome one. Hopefully you're somewhere sunny and not cold. Oh. Yep, we've got some hearts. We've got some freezing emojis. We've got I'm in. Perfect. I love the stars. Love it. Got a few more people. Oh, I took your freezing emoji as no, as you got in. Uh-oh. Josephine, were you able to get in or having some issues? Yay. I love these fun emojis. They're great. Super fun. Okay. Mr. Ganozu, hopefully everyone has been able to get in. If not, like I mentioned before, you can send me a private message in the chat box or just put it out there and I will see how I can help you. Oh, new friends. Sarah, do you mind dropping that link back in the chat as we welcome new friends, new colleagues into the room? Perfect. Those just joining, understand it's a tight turnaround. We're checking to make sure we can log into Tools for Teachers. This is a Smarter Balance session to discuss some wonderful things and options that are available to our educators and yourselves across the state. Okay. Okay. Like I said, if you feel like you can't log in, let me know. It does look a little interesting. So when you first go into Tools for Teachers, it's at the very bottom to log in on the bottom left. It will take you to possibly a DRC website. Oh, dude. And it could be that it's a Saturday for some, and then we have a 404 error. Meredith, my friend, I will see what I can do on the back end. Love the help, Julie. Thank you. Hopefully this works. This is why I love teams, like team groups. Huh. Other ideas would be just to refresh your page. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right, so while I help on some of those on the back end, we're gonna move on. I'm gonna hand this over to Sarah.
Okay, Mary, we're going to go to our next slide. So here's our norms. This is being recorded. We know that it's a Saturday. We're really psyched that people came out on a Saturday, but do your best to just sort of be present, minimize distractions, maybe put that phone away. We really encourage people to, use the Zoom features to participate. And if you have a great idea or a comment or a website you really love that you want to share, please throw that in the chat, because we are all about collaboration. All right, let's go to the next slide. Okay, so again, using the chat, we're gonna do a little self-assessment of your Tools for Teachers familiarity. And then you'll see that we have an option for, if you're done rating yourself in the chat, bookmarking the Tools for Teachers YouTube channel. So take a second and rate yourself in the chat. Say that I'm a 4, even though I'm the team lead, like there's always room for growth. So. And I'll also be dropping a link to the Tools for Teachers YouTube channel in the chat. Oh, thanks, Mary. Great minds think alike. Just as a follow-up resource, we really encourage people to check out the YouTube channel. It has a lot of videos and great resources that are very bite-sized. So take a minute, and if you've already rated yourself, just bookmark that. Okay, nice. Looks like we have a real range of experience with Tools for Teachers, and let's move on to our next slide. All right, Mary, over to you. So we're actually going to watch an overview video that is also in the Tools for Teachers YouTube.
Yes.
What is Smarter Tools?
Oh, shoot. Use your air. Here we go.
What is Smarter Tools for Teachers? Tools for Teachers is the new website from Smarter Balanced, filled with resources and strategies to help you do what you do best: teach. It's easy to use and features lessons and activities created by classroom teachers that enhance instruction, save teachers time planning lessons, and take into account the realities of teaching today. Here's just some of what you'll find. Instructional resources that are differentiated to support each student's learning by scaffolding instruction to meet individual learning goals. Interim Connections playlist that have student performance progressions that provide a continuum of what students know and can do. Formative and accessibility strategies that can be used during classroom instruction. Test questions that check student understanding, demonstrate what content is assessed, and how questions are asked. Tools for Teachers is a powerful resource for lesson planning because the formative process is embedded throughout to help teachers identify where students are in their learning, where they are going, and how they will get there. Tools for Teachers, part of the Smarter Balanced Assessment System, includes materials created to support educators in preparing students for the future, whether it's college or career readiness. Ready to unlock Tools for Teachers? Visit smartertoolsforteachers.org for more information.
Awesome. And Mary, we can go on to the next slide.
What is Smarter?
Okay, so you guys just saw a very brief overview of Tools for Teachers, but I think the best way to begin to look at it is to just dive in. So we have the first of 2 independent tasks or tasks that we're going to have you guys do. So what I'd like people to do is to open the Tools for Teachers quick guide. I've put the link in the chat and I'll actually put it again so it's clear. And take just a couple minutes to review the quick guide. It's like 2 pages, and then we're going to do a notice and wonder share out in the chat. So again, we're opening the quick guide and reviewing it. I recommend bookmarking or downloading it, and then we'll come back and share a notice and wonder in the chat. And there's also a little bonus activity if you're a speedy person and you're done.
I'm at Smarter Balanced DRC Insight Cited. Is that what you're talking about?
No, it's the quick guide. Is that not popping up?
Mm. Okay, well, I'm at Tools for Teachers and select your location to log in.
Okay. It sounds, Josephine, like there might be some issues on the back end. Mary, do you want to connect with Josephine around that? Because she should be able to access that because it looks like other people can. Say take another minute or 2 and then we'll do our share out.
Okay, so what do I do?
Hold on, Josephine. I'm sending you a message now, okay?
Okay.
And for those who are not able to find it online, Sarah's graciously added it into the chat where you can download it, and then you can also bookmark it that way.
Okay, well, I'm on YouTube where it says Smarter Balanced. Is that what I'm looking for?
No, I'm gonna send you the bit.ly again for you, Josephine, okay? For the quick guide only.
Okay.
There you go.
And this is going to be your 30-second reminder before we come back and share what we notice about this quick guide and what we wonder about this quick guide. All right, and we're going to begin. So if you could just respond in the chat, what do you notice when you look at this quick guide? Like anything, like there's no wrong answers, there's no judgment, really transparent, really open. What do you notice when you look at the quick guide?
You're late to get started.
Yep. So just in the chat, Latoya said she notices what's offered and she wonders how to implement it. Anyone else, what you notice? Put that prompt in the chat. Actually, is it Zakia? Am I pronouncing it correctly?
Yes.
Okay, Zakia says she notices, or that they notice full lessons and they wonder how many are available. There are a lot available. I want to say on the order of several hundred, Mary, if that sounds right, like many, many, many instructional resources.
That does, and those instructional resources vary, be it for the students or the educators and different assessment types.
Yeah, we'll get into some of the non-instructional resource stuff that's in the library as well, or tools for teachers as well.
Emily says they notice a lot of differentiation. Meredith also said noticing links to the full site.
Julie wondered how much time does a typical lesson take? It varies. There is stuff in there that's like, an 8-minute bell ringer that's like grade and content neutral. And then there's some instructional resources that are like 2 or 3 days. I wrote one recently that's like a high school one that would probably take like 2 80-minute class periods. So high variation because we want it to be useful to the largest number of teachers. All right, let's just keeping an eye on our time. If you haven't, as we move to the next slide, maybe consider sharing the quick guide with somebody that you work with. That could be someone in a PLC. It could be your buddy who teaches on the other side of the state. It could be an admin, anyone. Maybe just like send it to them and be like, hey, like here's something cool. Maybe this can save educators time, and it can help engage students. So I also did want to call out, I noticed that Emily talked about differentiation and the video talked about formative assessment, but I want to highlight that there's a lot of focus on accessibility, diversity, equity, and inclusion in these resources. So things like students who may have below vision, making sure that there's bias and sensitivity awareness in there. So that's another thing we really care about at Smarter Balanced, and that'll be reflected in Tools for Teachers. So Mary, you want to go to our next slide/activity?
Sure. So for this next one, we're asking you to go to the Tools for Teachers website, which it seems like a lot of my friends have done and have been able to log in. So thank you. I just shared a link in the chat to help bookmark the page. We're big into bookmarking because we don't want you to lose it, right? It's a really great resource. So next, we're going to ask for you to search for instructional resources in your grade and content, and/or there's some professional learning options as well. And what tools and features do you notice in that resource or on the website? And we want you to play around with the various options, sharing like any bookmarks and which might you use, and feel free to drop those links in the chat for us to share out. So we're looking to see what you're thinking, about, maybe what you found interesting. Maybe there's a question, like a notice and wonder continuation activity. So yeah, so take a few minutes. So do that and just share those in the chat. And for those that are still having issues, I will help you on the back end.
And we had bookmarked about 8 minutes to do this whole task, but we're a small group, so take whatever time you need, drop questions in the chat. Meredith, I think Mary can work with you on the back end to get you a temporary login so you can peruse tools for teachers while we work on getting one from your district administrator.
Hey, everybody. So just a little time check as we're all working on some things. I know I'm helping some people on the back end. Just see if you want to, if you find something amazing and you've already put it in the chat, wonderful. If you're still working on it, fantastic, working on it. But if you want to maybe do the bonus, see, find something that you want to look at, like an interim connections playlist, an accessibility strategy, one of those wonderful formative assessment strategies, or maybe you want to look at an item in the interim assessment items portal. Go ahead and do that. We will come back together as a whole at about 9:50. So it just seems like lots of friends are having good engagement with it and finding lots of useful things. So loving it.
Can anybody hear me?
Yep, looks like
Yes.
Okay.
Right, Mary, do we want to start calling people back together for our next, I'm also not sure how much tech support Mary's offering at any given time, so.
Let's go ahead and do that. That is totally fine. Let's do that. I believe yes.
Awesome. So let's go to our next activity. All right. So maybe just put like a yes or a no in the chat or thumbs up. Who here has used Jamboard before? Do we have any Jamboard newbies? All right, so I learned about this tool pretty recently. I think Mary has also used it. It's a really nice Google tool, definitely like a great thing to use with students. So Mary, do you want to show us the Jamboard? And it's just a way for us to have like a group discussion, like people can talk. I think we probably will do breakout rooms, Mary, with this many people. So I can set that up while you walk us through this activity. And I will also put questions, or I'll put the prompt in the chat too.
So in full transparency, I can't find my Google.
Totally fine, ma'am. We've all
Sorry.
been
If you
there.
can show, hold on.
Better in front of this audience than in front of a classroom of middle schoolers, I would say. So
Oh, where'd it go?
maybe while Mary's pulling up the Jamboard, would people just want to put in the chat, what is their current role? Like, are you a literacy coach? I know we had like an 8th grade ELA teacher, yay for 8th grade ELA. Maybe just drop in the chat what your role is, where you teach. And you could even put where you are.
Found it.
Nice. People are putting in, looks like we got some math, we got some early grades. We had an algebra 2 in college prep. Math.
I have
Nice.
some that are brand new.
Nice. I think people might not be remembering to chat everyone. That might be impacting our discourse. But all right, Mary, you want to run us through Jamboard, and then I'll set up breakout rooms, and probably 2 breakout rooms, maybe, or should we do 3? Let's do 3 because then more people will. Yeah. Okay. All right, Mary will walk you guys through Jamboard.
Yeah, so while Sarah's setting up the breakout rooms, thank you for everyone's patience. So we have a Jamboard. Hopefully everyone can see it. So with this, we have 3 questions. This is just our introductory slide. We can put the bit.ly back in the chat for everyone. But pretty much what we're asking you to do is just think about some of these questions in your groups that you'll, in your breakout rooms, have those discussions of what are some of the barriers to using or implementing tools for teachers. How do we solve or overcome barriers to using tools for teachers? And what are some best practices for implementation and possible strategies to implement tools for teachers? Resources. So just kind of like a recap, it seems like some of us are new with Jamboard, some of us are great with this. I know easily one of those barriers, thank you, Meredith, is so if we go to, we're going to add a new sticky note. So I'm going to go and borrow Meredith's example. So I'm going to go to the second page of this. What are some barriers to implementing? I'm going to grab a new sticky note. And for that, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new sticky note. I'm going to use Meredith's example. Not being able to access the website. I'm going to shorthand it. It's a very true thing. That can be a barrier. So we're going to save it. I like the color blue. And so I'm going to save it as blue and it's going to pop up. It's only have one. I'm going to hit cancel and then we're just going to add it. Fun thing is I can make it bigger. I can make it smaller. Pretty much where you can read it is best practice. So with that,
Mary, as you
I'm going to fix that.
because of Zoom administrator settings, I cannot make breakout rooms.
I will fix it. So Give me just a moment. We mentioned 3. Okay. So in just a moment, these were automatically populated. Some of you may have 3 friends, some of you may have 2 friends, but in a moment, I'm going to open the room. Sarah, we said how long for this?
I think like 10 minutes, and then we'll come back together and debrief for the last 5.
Perfect. So Sarah, if you don't mind doing me a favor, can you put back in the chat for us the bit.ly to this just to make sure everybody's got it? So we're going to do about 10 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and open the rooms. It should be popping up for you. And just go ahead and feel free to join. And I'll see, Meredith, are you able to find it, dear?
Yeah, no, I got it. While everybody was popping into rooms, and
Yeah,
I
you
said
and
I
I are
would
gonna,
unmute myself. So what do I need to do to try to get a login or access to that? I emailed the administrator that normally deals with SBAC stuff for us to see if she knows anything about it, but I can already tell you she's going to come back and say, I have no idea what you're talking about. So
perfect, that's fine. So hold on. Karen, are you okay, dear? Do you want me to help you? Are you able to access? Because I know Sarah came back, she was in y'all's room.
Yeah, sorry, I came back because I was all alone.
You were lonely. I know I have Karen in here with us, but Meredith, I'm looking on the back end for myself.
Mhm.
And it's in the permissions. Oh Lord, I've got too many things going on. Let me move some of these. So I'm trying to figure out, I was asking, are you in northern Nevada or southern Nevada?
Southern Las Vegas area.
Okay, good, because
Or
I have
Henderson.
I have 2 Pinecrests listed in there, and they
Yeah,
haven't.
we have both.
Oh yeah,
Sorry.
but I'm trying to find the right one for you.
Yeah,
Thank
Mary,
you.
do
Yeah,
you want
we're
me
Southern.
to head back to my breakout room, or are these we're doing troubleshooting in here?
I'm troubleshooting right now. Karen is also in your room, but Karen is a very quiet person.
Right.
No, nothing wrong with that. So if Sarah, do you mind keeping an eye on the clock for me? I'm sorry. Thank you. Please. Aha, I can find you now. Okay. So Meredith, what do you normally have access to?
Well, I mean, I've logged into the teacher toolbox previously, in years past, to find performance tasks and other things, and have never had an access problem. But I don't remember ever being prompted to log in either. I did it. I know I've logged into the DRC Insight and administered SBAC assessments for years. So this is the first time I've ever really had this kind of login problem. I'm not sure where it's coming from.
Okay, so here's what I'm doing. I'm looking and listening to you talk because I have a lot of permissions I can look at. But for now, you're still going to have to get in touch with your person.
Okay.
I have you as an administrator because you just said administering tests, and I've got
Yeah.
tools for teachers. Because this is where I'm like, I'm the absolute last person you want to talk to because I'm not with you day to day.
Right.
But I can get you some access. That doesn't mean you've got everything that you probably normally look at.
Okay.
So
It's just this weird, okay, so say I'm looking at a resource, right? And on the toolbox, and then it says click login to get full access. And then when I click login, it says, what's your location? I say Nevada. And then it says DRC Insight 403 app not assigned. Sorry, you can't access Smarter Balance Nevada because you're not assigned to this app in OKTA.
In
Okta, so I can do it on the DRC side,
Mhm.
which is what I'm trying to look at what you had before. Maybe.
So I was just in the instructional resources and I picked a lesson on transitions. I clicked on it and then it said for full access, click login. So I clicked login
Right.
and then I got that 403.
Right. No, I understand the error message you're looking at. I'm looking at DRC on the very far back end,
Got it.
like way in the weeds. So I'm trying to see what the last information I have for you is from 2019, 2020. And I'm trying to get it to where it'll let me look.
I'll also say, Meredith, well, Mary is like poking around on the back end, which like some of that might be like your district administrator. One reason, and like every Tools for Teachers like workshop or get to know it I've given, this happens to somebody. And it's important because it's all under the same umbrella where you would give the summative or the interim assessments. And so like there's, you know, student information in there, there's IEP information in there. So like there are these layers of security that make it at times like a little harder to access. But yeah. And Meredith, remind me, where do you teach, or what do you teach?
I'm in a charter in Southern Nevada called Pinecrest Academy.
Okay.
Yeah, sometimes my charters are a little more fun.
Interesting. And what do you teach there?
English, 8th grade.
Oh, right. 8th grade English. Yep.
Yeah. I teach English, but I'm the lead for the ELA department. So I am the one that typically teaches the other teachers how to use these types of resources, which is why I was excited about doing this session today, so I could see what was new and what was cool and all of that, so I can take it back and pass it on.
Yeah.
I just got to be able to log into it.
Well, honestly, like better to have it happen now than like in a meeting with your department, right?
Yeah.
So and I just dropped I mean, this is on like, you know, Mary has my email and everything, but here's my email. So if you ever, you know, like middle grades ELA, like that's my jam. If you ever want to schedule a one-on-one to chat, you know, if you have questions that come up when you're with your group, I would be super happy to help. What would you say is like, what would be a challenge that you sort of want your department team to address this year?
Well, okay. So we have 3 English teachers in middle school, and one of them is a very brand new teacher. So the biggest challenge for her is getting her, you know, just instructionally up to speed in general, but helping her understand formatively how to ensure that her kids are prepared to be summatively assessed, and how to, you know, encourage her to progress monitor and to make sure that the kids are on track, and showing her different tools that can be used, especially SBAC related, and getting her familiar with, you know, what kind of questions the kids are going to be asked and how to teach them to be familiar with keywords and academic vocabulary that they need to respond appropriately to questions and prompts, all of those things. And then my other English teacher, he is actually a former SPED teacher. So he's, you know, he's instructionally great. It's just kind of focusing down on the specific ELA standards and making sure that he's aware of what standards he's taught, what still needs to be covered, and all of those progress monitoring as well, and some other things. So just helping them stay on track and not feel overwhelmed, but having the right resources to use at the right time, I guess, is kind of key.
Yeah. Well, and it's, you know, like there's just, especially for the new teacher, there's so many things, you know, to work on. And I do think like we've been talking internally at Smarter Balanced around like all teachers need some extra support right now, but new teachers, like we want to keep these people in the classroom, right?
Yes.
So, you know, there's so much online and it can be so overwhelming. So I would really drive, I mean, both of these educators towards like the Tools for Teachers suite as a one-stop shop, right? Like we've got the interim assessment items, you know, and you can like give your students a writing IAB and like it'll be scored, or you can like pull up one item. Like there's so much there. I think the question is like, what's the right dose? How do you not overwhelm the new teacher? I would say, I think that list of like just formative assessment strategies is gold, because I look, you know, I poke around at our competitors and like I've taught in places where they're like, here's your curriculum, it's Wednesday, you got to be on page 8. And I don't know if you have the same experience, but I've realized like a lot of stuff is very vague. It's like discuss with students, engage students, discuss and tell students about. And I'm like, that means nothing to a first year.
I know.
You know,
and they don't need to listen to us any more than necessary. They need to be discussing, and they need to be reading, and they need to be responding. Yeah.
Right. And that's why, like, I really like, you know, Mary and I have actually worked together. Like I used to be in Mary's position at the state of Vermont. So like we've known each other for a long time, and we both agreed on this workshop, like what teachers really want is time to like go look at the resource, like leave with something that you're like, I can teach this on Monday. Don't listen to us tell you about how great it is for an hour. So you know, that might be something you might want to consider, is just doing what we did here as a little sandbox of like, hey, if 45 minutes, like pick something, talk about it, implement it, let's come back. And even sharing that link of formative assessment strategies and being like, hey, I want you to pick one to get really good at this month.
For sure. And it is overwhelming. And our charter uses a blended learning model. So like the kids are already in programs on a regular basis that are individualized and helping them at their instructional levels. And we use those to monitor progress. But I still feel like, preparing for end of year assessments and making sure that we have taught every standard and tracking those tools in the teacher toolbox are very, very helpful.
Yeah.
So I'm closing all the rooms. They're gonna have 30 seconds. Meredith, what I could find, I had you, then I lost you, and now I can't find you. Yeah, unfortunately, you're gonna have to talk to your administrator because it also
Okay.
speaks to the upcoming year. Really all I got right now.
Okay. All right. I'll sit down with her on Monday and make her dive in there and figure it out for me.
And Meredith, you have my email. Like if you
Yeah.
want to bring this to your teachers on, the Tuesday before Thanksgiving,
coming
you want to
back.
bring this to your teachers and there's login issues, like connect with me and we can figure something out because
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'll send you my email as well, Meredith. So between us, we'll figure it out. So welcome,
Perfect. Thank you.
friends, back. So you can hear we've had some really good, fun discussions. Talking about all those barriers, right? So with everybody back, I think our next steps were, let's share out. What are some thoughts and things that y'all discussed while you're in your rooms? We know already one key barrier is access. I see it twice. And probably the process of doing that. Go ahead, Sarah.
I was just wondering, do you think because we're a small enough group that in this last like 4 or 5 minutes, do you want people to verbally share out? Just want to look at Jamboard? What do you think?
I was going to offer if anybody wanted to verbally share while we look at each individual page, or if they just wanted to share their biggest wondering and aha, and we can look at it all together because we do have a good 3 to 4 minutes left.
I'd like to share. We just talked. We didn't use the Jamboard, but we talked about the importance of like having a professional development session where teachers actually know how to use this and use it effectively. And if we're not given that support, then I happen to come from Hawaii where we used, this site and everything. And so I know how to use it, but I think we need professional development around how to use it effectively. And I said one of the things that I did was I used it every single day as a do now kind of type activity. And then I sent home a packet with the kids. And I said, okay, parents, this is your responsibility, to go over this with your, student. And so that they understand what kind of questions that they're going to see on our assessment.
And I'm going to drop, I put this in the chat earlier, but this is my email. So like Mary is your first stop, but she and I have worked together for a long time. And so, if there's anything that either of us can do to support, like using this with your colleagues, definitely let us know.
There's a comment I see on the Jamboard that says having a required box curriculum and pacing guide is holding us back from being able to make time for SBAC resources. And I feel like I can comment on that one a little bit because I'm in the same boat. We use Springboard from the College Board as our ELA curriculum, and our district requires us to teach that curriculum with fidelity. Like we are not allowed to differentiate much in the way, away from the actual curriculum. So how are you supposed to go into other sources, pull things in and utilize them? But there are lots of ways to get creative with that because, for example, there's a writing task that goes along with the lesson I'm teaching today. I could go into the SBAC toolbox, find a particular writing task that is particular to the lesson I'm teaching, and I can pull that in and use that writing task instead of the one that's directly embedded into the curriculum. Or I could pull in SBAC resources as warm-ups and use them as a warm-up in class while I'm taking attendance and dealing with student issues at the beginning of class. Or I could use them as exit tickets to verify that what I taught that day was actually learned by the students so that as they're leaving, I get closure and we can make sure that they did what they were supposed to do. So even with those dedicated curricula, we can still find ways to pull those in. We just have to be a little bit creative about it. And I don't know if that really helps you or not, but I hoped that because that's kind of how I've figured out how to play with those kinds of things.
Awesome. So looking at the time and knowing how short, I don't want to cut anyone off, so I do apologize. If you have any other thoughts, please put them in the chat. You're going to get a really long chat from me. You're welcome. Reminding of please put in your attendance survey, and I also have the session survey. Sarah and I love to hear feedback. Just how we can do this better. I understand there's always some technical glitches with that. But we greatly appreciate you being here. Here's some things coming up. You'll hear them from me. Hopefully coming down through the grapevine we have Smarter Network Educator workshops, and where you actually get to write some of these resources and meet other folks from like Hawaii and Vermont and Washington. They always bring a huge crew in California. So
yeah, and I would like to personally invite you guys to sign up for these. They are really good. We don't wine and dine you, but we dine you. It's in a nice hotel. They're really wonderful events.
we were in Portland over the summer. I'm not sure where we're going next summer, but we go pretty much kind of across the country. Really fun, great folks to work with. Yeah, it's a great experience. At least try it once, you know? But with that being said, oh, here's my email. Yes. You meet lots of good folks with the work. I am trying to type my email in here as quick as possible. Reminder, next session starts in 5 minutes.
Yep. And Mary, I think if you go to the last slide, our emails are up there as well.
Oh, shoot. There, mine, here you go.
Sure. And I want to thank Mary for inviting me to this. Love working with teachers. You guys are really out there doing it. So whatever we can do to help, contact us. And have a great Thanksgiving break.
Great Thanksgiving, everybody.
Thank you. You too. Have a great day.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Mary. Bye.